So I'm Liam Madden. Both Camilo and I serve on the board of directors of Iraq Veterans Against the War. And that's who I am now. I'm a student at Northeastern, but who I was 5 years ago will help kind of give you a little more context. I was 18 years old, and I was joining the Marine Corps right before, in fact, the invasion of Iraq, which I wasn't exactly counting on, but it was, to me, the Marine Corps was an opportunity to grow as a person. I was not ready to pursue any of the other options that really 18-year-old young men are faced with, which is job, jail, college, or the military. I was not ready for college. I needed personal growth. I wasn't ready for jail. And I didn't think jobs were that good of an option either at that point, especially in my hometown of in Vermont. And so I joined the Marine Corps. And the United States invades Iraq while I'm in basic training. I am against the war. I do everything within my power to avoid being deployed to Iraq because I disagree with it by trying to have my destiny in my own hands and serve in areas that are not related to the war. It doesn't work out for me, and I go to Iraq. I serve in Anbar province from September 2004 to February 2005. And on one of my first days there, they take me away from my active duty unit and they attach me to reservists that are in the town of Haditha. And I was a communication electronics specialist, but we all help to grease the wheels of war. Everyone who's there is making that occupation possible. But I was also asked by the infantry, who were often really stressed, to supplement their patrols or their sniper missions, their convoy escorts, or whatever they needed help with. And on my first day there, I'm getting off and being attached to this reserve unit, and I get off this big truck, 7 tons of armor and machine, and I drop my bags, and I'm covered in camouflage and armor and helmet, rifle, ammunition, and I'm the new guy, and all ears. Knowledge talks, wisdom listens. So I'm just trying to see what's going on, and just the day before, they had been on one of those patrols that they asked communications Marines to help the infantry with, and there was a bomb that exploded on the road while the patrol drove by, and the procedure is to drive through it, to not stop right where the enemy wants you to stop, and to pull off to the side of the road to make sure that all the personnel are okay, to make sure that all the vehicles can continue to function, to make sure that there's not an ensuing attack. And so to guard against that, the Marines would get out, basically lie in form a perimeter around this potentially damaged convoy. And there's an Iraqi man that's driving by, and remember, this is the story that I'm being told on my first day. And an Iraqi man's driving down the road to do whatever a civilian is doing, going to visit his family, to go to work. And he sees some vehicles on the side of the road, but how is he to know that there are people laying there with crosshairs on his windshield? And the person I'm going to be working for the next several months, with basically the permission of our rules of engagement in Iraq, is perfectly allowed to say that is a threat to me. That car coming down the road, who by no means is anything more than a civilian driving to work, is a threat to him. He shoots through the windshield and he shoots that man, a civilian. The American military administers medical attention. This person doesn't die. He was shot in the shoulder. But as I'm being told this story, I'm kind of preparing myself mentally for the months ahead. And the staff sergeant says, "So I wonder if I'm going to get a medal." He shot a civilian, and he's wondering if he's going to get a medal. So I think that moment really, I was against the war to begin with. But nothing really crystallized it more right then than on my first day with my new unit of the nature of this occupation. And I was told that story to a community group in Watertown, Mass. a couple weeks ago, and I was telling it with a friend of mine who's an Iraqi. And he was there to talk more about politics than to talk about his own personal experience in Iraq. But before he could start, he said, I can't start without acknowledging that I'm so shaken. I can't help but think that that could have been me in that car, and that could have been Liam behind that trigger. And that, to me, is the simplest form of empathy that a human being can have. To put yourself, for a moment, in someone else's shoes. And I don't think there's enough of that. And I think that's one of the main things that we try to battle, is that people need to be a little more empathetic. You need to say, that could have been me in that car on my way to work. That could have been my father not coming home. And me, a little boy or a little girl, wondering, where is my mother, my father, my brother? They were shot by an occupying force. So, I mean, these are the thoughts that really kind of helped transform me. Although politically I was already against the war, but I wasn't apparently moved enough to really work against it in any way that was going to really affect my life. Until I got home, and after seeing the Iraqis, I mean, if looks could kill, you ever heard that one?
Indeed.
If looks could break hearts, well, they broke my heart. So full of anger and disappointment and frustration and fear. The looks in the eyes of the Iraqi people really also drove home the nature of this occupation to me.